Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jay from Sony AFFILIATTE, and what I got here is the Sony PZ Power Zoom 18 to 105 millimeter f4 OSS G lens. And this is a really nice lens. It's an E-mount lens. It's made for the crop factor cameras like the A6000, for example, or the X6. The lens is a little bit large, as you can see. However, the zoom is all internal. So when you zoom from 18 to 105, the lens doesn't change at all, and nothing rotates on the front either. And then it has a zoom lever over here, which is variable. So you have a minimum of 3 speeds. I'm not sure if there's more than 3. I can't seem to find that information, but through the testing I've done, I got it 3 speeds out of this, and it's awesome. It's smooth, silent. I can't hear it at all in the video. And the focus is also very smooth and silent. The transitions are also nice from when you're filming video from one subject to another. It smoothly transitions, which is great. And the Sony lenses are notorious for doing a great job, in my opinion, with the transitions in particular as it pertains to video. So the cost on this lens, it goes for about $598 US, and honestly, I think that's a very fair price. The lens does have some significant distortion at the wide end and at the telephoto end, pretty much all the way through. There's significant barrel slash pin cushion type distortion, but if you're filming with the A6000 or a newer Nex camera, it does all that correction for you. The only camera that doesn't correct for the distortion is the larger professional cameras, like the bigger ones that are E-mount. Those don't have the older ones. They don't have the firmware information for this lens, so the distortion will be there if you use one of those cameras. But on this camera or any of the newer E-mount cameras, the distortion will be fixed for you on the camera if you're recording video and if you're shooting JPEG. If you're shooting RAW, the distortion will not be corrected for you, and you'll have to correct it in post. That's not an option for video, but only for photography, of course. But when you get into Lightroom, for example, is what I use, they have a profile. Lightroom has the profile for this lens, and it'll fix the distortion for you, so it takes away the problem. So when you factor in the crop factor of the APS-C size sensor in relation to the 35 millimeter full frame format, the 18 to 105 actually works out to 27 to 158 millimeter. So you get significantly more reach than 105, and it's not quite as wide as 18 millimeter on a full frame camera. So keep that in mind. This has a constant f4 aperture, which is very nice. So at 105 you have f4, and at 18 you have f4, maximum wide open, and it doesn't change throughout the zoom range. So it's not a variable aperture like some of the other zoom lenses, like the 18 to 200, for example, or the 55 to 210, or the 18 to 55. These are variable aperture lenses. This is not. This is a constant f4. All right. As far as the guts go, what this has is 3 spherical lens elements inside, which help correct for different types of distortion factors, and it has 2 extra low dispersion glass elements in there as well. And basically, that just means it's really high quality optics. Not all of the glass, but they put some in there to increase the output quality, which earns it the G badge. So the optics are G badge worthy. So that's what they did. They put a couple high quality lens elements in there. The build quality is really good. So this lens weighs 1.06 pounds or 486 grams approximately. And it's not exactly light, especially when compared to a lens like this. But when you factor in, the zoom is all internal, and it has a 3-speed variable power zoom included and optical steady shot. All that stuff's built in here. The front does not rotate either, so you don't have to worry about that. And it's $598 US. This is a very good value, in my opinion, for the dollar, because you have a really nice range. It's like an all-in-one lens, 18 to 105. You can pretty much do everything with it. And the zoom is so smooth, silent, and it makes the video so much better that if you're doing any kind of video at all, it's really worth considering getting a power zoom lens, especially this one. But if you're photography only and you really don't care about video, the Zeiss 16 to 70 might be a better option. It doesn't have quite the range, but it's a little wider, it's definitely sharper, and the contrast in color is a little bit better. It's, that contrast of the Zeiss is awesome. The 70 to 200 millimeter G lens has a little bit more contrast than this one, but that being said, the contrast in color is quite good on this lens. It's just not as good as Zeiss. You know, the Zeiss lens is $1,000 and it's less range, you know, and it's not power zoom, so it stands to reason that would be a little bit better. It's much more money, less range, same aperture, you know, so you're going to pay more for the Zeiss. But for $600 or $598, you really get a great lens here, I have to say. I would not mind owning it myself. I would buy it if I, you know, had the money. I really don't have the money, but this is great for filming Layla and stuff on vacation. This would be the perfect lens, you know, for doing video and photography and getting good image quality. It's like an all-in-one compromise, like the best one currently, in my opinion. So, all right, guys. So that's pretty much it for, you know, the talking part. I'm going to go into the lab now. I want to show you in Lightroom, and I want to show you some sample video, some zooming samples so you can see the different speeds, things like that. I have a couple videos out already that show you a lot of sample video with this lens and this camera, but I'm going to shorten it down and try to, you know, put it together in a more comprehensive way for this review, so it's a little bit more specific and fine-tuned than just like the general video samples, you know what I'm saying? So, all right, guys. Like I said, stay tuned, and I'm going to show you some sample pictures, and we'll catch up later. All right. What I want to do is a quick zoom test here. Currently set to aperture of f4, auto ISO, and I'm just zooming in here. Trying to zoom as slow as possible. That's the slowest speed right there. It's a little bit tricky to adjust the variable zoom. You can see the focus just switched to the foreground now. And I'll just zoom in a little bit faster. And that's full speed. And I'll just zoom out at full speed, and you can see the image stabilization. That's me moving the lens. If I just let go of it, you can see how smooth it is. And I'll just zoom out at full speed. Check that out. And that's full speed. And I'll zoom in at full speed. Alright, so I'm recording at f8 right now, and I'm just going to change it to f4 so you can see the background get a little blurrier in the foreground, get a little blurrier. Just increasing the depth of field. Raise it all the way up to f22 there. See the fence in the background. Now I'm just going to scroll back to f4 and notice the background separation. Hey Chubbs, I'm just hand holding here. You can see the zoom is variable. It's got like a... Hey, what are you doing over there? Eating cheese doodles? What is that, a trick? Are you doing a trick? Alright guys, so here we are in Lightroom, and we're just going to go over some sample photos using the Sony 18-105 Power Zoom G lens. And I have a ton of sample photos here, as you can see. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm in the, just so you know, if I'm in library mode, and I'm just going to hit the backslash key to bring up the metadata area. And what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to go to 18mm, and I'm going to show you the 18mm shots first. And notice how I have the lab shots already selected here because I was just going over this. But I just want to show you what you can do here at 18mm. This is from the aquarium, and nice wide angle. Here's a nice shot of this awesome ship, a model ship, and wait till you see the detail on this. It's incredible. This is through plexiglass too, by the way. And the lens did a great job. The versatility is nice. having the 18 plus much wider, and you can zoom all the way in and get close-ups with the same lens. So these are raw files, by the way. That's why they look a little bit flat. They're unprocessed raw files. I wanted you to see them right off the camera. So that's what you're looking at here, okay? And I'm just looking down the stairwell. It's down the hallway here. And here we are in the lab. So you got without lens correction, then with lens correction. And let me show you what it looks like zoomed in all the way. So this is 18 millimeter at f4. All right, so it's a little bit soft, and that's expected. It's wide open at 18 millimeter and wide open f4. So that is expected. And the distortion, like I said, is noticeable. You can see here, that's with no lens correction, and that's with lens correction. So at f5.6, you can see the sharpness does firm up just a little bit. It's actually significant compared to f4. Let me go back to f4 here and just show you that again. That's f4. That's f5.6. You can see significant difference. I'm going to go to f8 here, and that'll be even sharper. See at f8, this lens really performs awesome. And f11, and then f16. I'm just showing you so you can see how the chart renders here. You can see it very sharp at f11. And f16, this chart back here, you should be able to read the text there pretty easily. You could read the text there. So you can see the depth of field is pretty large at f16, 18 millimeter. Pretty much, for the most part, sharp front to back. So let me just go back to the grid mode here. And I'm just going to go to 24 millimeter. Let's see what we got there. We have a few lab shots at 24 millimeter, so let me show you those. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like with the lab correction, because right now it has no lab correction. So let me enable that, and you'll see the distortion go away. You can see the pincushion distortion. You can see it on the pole there on the right, how it's bent in. And then right there, that fixes the verticals. See what I mean? So, like I said, the distortion on this lens is significant. So at 24 millimeter f4, you can see it's still a little bit soft. But once we stop it down at f5.6, it sharpens up. You can see that. So very sharp at 5.6. f4 a little bit soft. f8 is very sharp. Very happy with the f8 performance on this lens. And I'm just going to show you again with lens correction and without. See that? These are raw files. All right. So let me go back to grid, and I'll just go to 34 millimeter, 35 millimeter area. I think I got some lab shots. Here we go. And same deal, 35 millimeter. Show you what it looks like at f4, or this is actually f5.6. You can see it's pretty sharp. It's very sharp. Here's f4. This is going to be a little bit softer. And it's softer. f4 is just a little bit soft at all focal lengths. You stop it down to f5.6 and it really sharpens up. f8 is really sharp. So that crisps up nicely. And the distortion is there. You could see it here on the pole, especially on the right hand side. Notice that how bent that is. And then when I check the enable corrections, boom, straightens all those lines out. So you can see here at 35 millimeter, the distortion is really bad as well. But when you fix it, it looks good. All right, so here's 50 millimeter lab photos, f4. And I'm just going to enable the lens profile so you can see. It's pretty significant here. That's with, and that's without. All right, so I'm going to enable it here, and then I'll zoom in. And again, f4 just a little soft at 50 millimeter, but it's better than 35 millimeter and 18 millimeter. At f5.6, it's going to sharpen up nicely. I'm just going to add the lens correction here. That looks pretty good at f5.6. I'm happy with those results. And f8 should be even sharper. Yeah, it looks great, f8. So let me just go to 105 millimeter and show you what it looks like on the long end here in the lab. So you could see the pincushion distortion again is very significant, and this is what it looks like corrected. So with no correction and then with correction, this is at f4, and it's not too bad at f4. It looks better than some of the other focal lengths. And you can see the lights as I stop it down and the color chart there change. Here's another shot just playing around here in the lab. So I'll just fix the distortion. See how bad that is? It looks good when it's fixed though. So I'll add that. And then I'll just add the tone curve medium. And then I'll give it a little bit of contrast. There we go. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the lab photos. And now let me just go through and show you some real world photos. And I'll talk about them as we go through here. A bunch of these you probably saw already from the aquarium, so I'm just going to go through quick. But I just want to show you the versatility with this lens. You know, at 105mm you can get some really cool effects, like, you know, just a silly railing shot. And I was able to make a cool like Z/S scene. You know, and I love doing stuff like that. You just zoom in 105mm and take a look at different things, and you can create cool compositions. And then you switch to 18mm, turn around, and then you can take a wide angle shot like this. And then looking at windows here, this is always a good test for lenses, so you can see what it looks like. That's with no lens correction, and that's with lens correction there. Alright, so I'm just going to go through here. There's a couple real world shots. My dad's a little out of focus, but Layla looks pretty sharp there. I had a cool turtle nesting area. There's a couple low light shots. But you can see the depth of field. I mean, it just falls off so nice, especially, and this is at 27mm. So you don't have to be zoomed into 105 to get a cool depth of field. And there's a seashell here. This guy here was giving us some nice information. Had a good time. There's a turtle. Some frogs. There's another frog. Look at the frog's back. He's got like bumps all over him. These are really high ISO 4000 with the Sony a6000 I was using here. I showed you this shot already. This is another cool ship here, and this is at 48mm, but what I wanted to show you here is how the fall off of depth of field here. You could look down the side of the ship and how it just falls away. Really creates a nice 3D image, and you know, it's worth noting. So there's the shark. I know you probably saw some of these shots, but I took a couple of test images as well. Like this image here is nothing special. It was more of a test shot. But you could see at 18mm how much of the room, you know, you're able to capture. And then looking to the right, same thing. At 18mm you can get a lot of the room in. And here's that metal railing. See the metal railing going around that tank? That's that metal railing that I zoomed in and got this shot, in case you were wondering. Alright, so this is my dad and Layla just getting a life preserver. Here's a cool little fish. I was zoomed in on this one, 59mm. Some more shot here. There's another test shot. Harsh lighting outside, pretty dark inside, and you know, the lens handles it quite well. This is a really harsh lighting situation, and you can see if you look at the far end, again, the lens handles it really well. The noise is pretty good too, ISO 25,000. So let's move on here. A couple turtle shots. And here's another image. This is 34mm. And then from the same exact spot, zoomed in, I could take this shot at 105mm. See that? So I'm zoomed into the valve, and then you could zoom out and look. That's what I love about versatile zoom lenses. You could do cool stuff like that. And then zoomed way in on this stuff, on these other valves. Zoom in on this gauge, things like that. Same thing with this lobster or crab or whatever this thing is. Some kind of lobster, I think. I was able to zoom in on him. He was pretty far away. And same with the sand shark. Little slot machine there. You can crush your pennies and stuff. There's a shot took down at the park, and you could see the separation is awesome. And here's another image I really like. The background was extremely bright with the sun going down, but the lens performed great. You could see how sharp Layla is, and the contrast, you know, worked out very well. It didn't have a problem. So those lens coatings really do make a difference. And this, you can see how distorted it is. I took a shot, and this is a house siding, so that should be a straight line. All right, so I'm just going to hit the lens correction, and there you go. See that? I took a lot of shots, sample shots to show you. This shot you already saw, but I took it with this lens, so I'll show you again. Here's some cool birds. And again, you can see the depth of field just fall off here. I wanted to show you. See how the bird is sharp in the front, and then it just falls off so nicely. And that was at 105mm. There's baby Talon and Layla. Now, this is f7.1 versus f4. See how out of focus the background is? So I just wanted to give you a quick sample of separation there. Here's a cool waterfall. This is zoomed in a little bit. So this is at 105 millimeter. It's actually zoomed in all the way. And this is at 45 millimeter. So, you know, versatility. And then I just focused on the leaves for a quick snapshot. It's not the best shot, but just wanted to show what the waterfall looked like out of focus. All right, so here's another cool shot at 105 millimeter. I just wanted to show you 18 or 25 millimeter right here versus 105. And that's from the same exact location. I love that versatility that you get out of a zoom lens. And here's a shot. This is the unedited version. And I just edited this and cropped it. I'm very happy with the results. Layla got a cool little basket to hold their stuffed animals. And here's a flower image I took on the deck. This is at 83 millimeter, f5.6. And I just want to show you could take flower shots too. And you can see the results are quite good. Very happy with that. And here's Layla taking a picture on the deck. And I took a picture of the A6000 with my old school Minolta lens on there. And look how good the results are. I mean, it was high ISO 5000. And, you know, handheld, low light. The lens did a great job. Happy with the results. And now what we got here is a real world scene. And the lighting was horrendous. It was in midday. The results of the actual photos aren't really that good, to be honest with you. But it's great for a test shot to show you what the lens can do. That's really what I was concerned with. So I just want to show you what it looks like at f4 here. I focused on this satellite dish around here somewhere. That was my goal. And you could see the image is soft pretty much all around, just a little bit at f4. All right, it gets a little sharp in the middle area where I focused, but overall it's a little bit soft. So f5.6, you can see it tacks up quite nice, the sharpness. It's much better at f5.6. f8, it gets even better, much sharper. Much better results. There's a cop car coming. You can see the detail on the brick. And I just want to show you a lens correction with and without. That's without lens correction, and that's with it. All right, so here's f8 at 105 millimeter. All right, so here's another shot. Looking down, you can see the lens fall off there. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for the Sony 18-105 f4 OSS G lens review, and I really hope you got what you were looking for. So again, here's Sony AFFILIATTE, and be sure to check out the full review, which will be up here momentarily. But I also have the A6000 review, and I just finished the vertical battery grip review if you want to check that out. And I got some this quadcopter here I've been working on, so look out for that if you're interested. And again, I appreciate the support, and have a great day, guys. Oh, feel free to ask questions as well. All right, take care.